Hi, I'm Maxime Verbist, and it is our 6th video on the destiny. Are you a merchant? Is your imagination shaped by science? Is your ethos driven by precision? Is your life plagued by prejudice? If it's the case, this video may interest you. The humanity is associated with the use of tools. But at one moment, the technology became so complex that people had to specialize in some crafts to get good at it. So the more we have technical means, the more it requires some people to specialize in one craft and not to the other. For instance, you can be a good blacksmith. It doesn't mean that you will be a good potter. So the artisan is a professional that has been recognized for his technical mastery in one domain. The imagination of the artisan is shaped by two principles: science and imitation. Since the cave age, humans have been exploring nature and trying to understand how it works. They have been trying to develop technologies. This fundamental necessity to understand nature and to master it is called science. We all do science in our daily life to interact with the material world. If you have a destiny of artisan, science will be at the core of your imagination. That means that what will interest you in the world is the technical aspects of it, how it works, and how to make it working better. In the human development, some skills do not need any support to learn. Kids learn to use their hand or to stand up and walk by their own. But most of the things we know, we get it from observing models. Speaking is one of those skills we cannot learn by our own. We have to listen to adults and try to repeat it. Slowly we get better at it. But it's a long process of interaction. Therefore, what we may consider to be autonomy is not something we gain by our own. Autonomy is given through relation and through our capacity to imitate models. If you have a destiny of an artisan, the function of imitation is absolutely central. That means that you will build up your emotional stability upon your capacity to acquire skills and to show that you are studying hard. And whenever you can demonstrate those skills, you will be at ease. You will feel that you master your subject. And when your action will lead you to failure, you will panic. Unlike the artists who have sometimes to let some flow of inspiration drive his movements, the artisan must ensure that he will get the same result anytime he works. So precision is not only a virtue. For the artisan, it is the driving principle of his personal growth. And the artisan will learn precision through a gradual process. At first, he will get it from the imitation of official models. He will ensure that he got the right person to teach him the right skills, and then he will get better at it. In a second level, the artisan will be mature enough to face situations where there is no proper guidelines to act. And this requires to be an expert and to master different skills and to know which skills does he have to use to solve the problem. When his intellect is mature enough, the artisan will start to discover that all the procedures, the models, the guidelines he's using need to be perfected. But to do that, he needs to enter in communication with other specialists. and to arrive to a certain agreement, as scientific do, on the level of what can be recognized as truth. At this level, the precision will be a matter of scientific agreement. It is part of our human nature to try to understand the world constantly. But it's also to make snap judgment and to have prejudice, to have an understanding of the world which is inadequate, to use the wrong logic to face a situation. If you have a destiny of an artisan, your life will be plagued by prejudice, because your mind, with his power to analyze everything, is very prone to make wrong conclusions about the world. And you may fall into an attitude where you will apply wrong category to understand it and create a circle of misunderstanding. Nowadays, individually, we try to get better and not having sexist or racial prejudice, but we are facing a danger much bigger in terms of prejudice, because now it is the machine who are judging us. And using the algorithm, they will constantly brew huge amounts of data about us and make snap decisions about who we are or what we are supposed to do. So prejudice is a problem that gets more and more problematic with the information technology. But the artisan is not only prone himself for prejudice, he's suffering from other prejudice, because as he has a very high sense of the use of logic, he may be used by people to create algorithms, to create those snap judgments that we are suffering from. And he will also be very shocked by how people have snap judgment on the world. The destiny of the artisan is plagued by prejudice. The main problem with prejudices is that usually when we are into a prejudice, we are not aware of it, because we take it for truth. Therefore, it's extremely difficult to cure oneself from prejudice. One radical attitude we can adopt towards knowledge is that instead of trying to make sense of everything that's happened around us, is to focus that knowledge upon higher dimensions. And it used to be in the past called the Gnostic way. When you study Kabbalah, Tarot, numerology, or all those different facets of the Gnostic tradition, you don't try to apply a science as scientists do, because to understand it, it requires that you apply upon yourself. You are not a separate scientist from his experiment. You are the experiment. And Gnosis is the application of a divine science upon yourself. And if you have a destiny of an artisan, it may be a good way to use your mind and to apply your mind into something that is less likely to lead you to a prejudice, because it is focused on something too big, the divine. So if you are struggling to have empathy upon someone who has a destiny of an artisan, think that his life is made very complicated by an inner conflict. In one side, he will be constantly tempted to apply the power of his logic to have a mastery of his surrounding, and to use a lot of snap judgments or very efficient method to get precisely what he wants, the exact result he wants. And in the other side, the artisan is seeking an absolute wisdom and knowledge about the world. What he wants is the pure truth. And he's constantly divided by getting concrete results and reaching the highest truth in life. That makes his life complicated, and that deserves empathy.